one of the chauffeurs pulled up alongside me, and I said, "Oh, look, I was going to go out for breakfast." And he said, "Oh, look, we're going to go over there." So I went and bought him a cup of coffee, and we chatted. I didn't actually tell him I was a reporter, but we got talking, and he gave me a couple of interesting things. There's a name off the list that isn't on a name he identified as someone that isn't on either of the two slightly varying lists of delegates, which some powerful Spanish lady called Donna Esperanza something or other. And he also told us, more interestingly, that he'd been speaking to the police, and he said this with great conviction, but obviously this is third hand from a chauffeur, so, you know, take it with however many grains of salt as you want. But he said that the cost of the security alone for the conference was 10 million euros. Now, I don't know if that's the case. It sounds
it was 900 and something million with the G20 last year here in the U.S.
Really? My goodness.
900 million.
How do you spend 900 million? I say that we're hosting the Olympics for 13 billion or however much it is, so yeah, I shouldn't ask stupid questions.
Yeah, well, in fact, guys, I want to be sure, pull that article up. It was a 900 million spent on G20 security. I believe that's for all their past meetings in the last year, but I want to be, that 900 million number was there, or I know it was above 90 million, yeah, because I'm not adding a zero. We're going to check that right now, but Mr. Skelton, what else happened?
What else happened? Well, we've been handing out our T-shirts, which it's been very positive. By the way, I'd like to say the main thing that's happened is it's been a really warm, positive experience for, I think, everyone who's been here. That we had some people that came as a result of your broadcast. We've had a few people that came because of what I wrote last year. Some people that have just started reading about this kind of thing, and a lot of young people, a lot of very excited, interested, concerned people, and we just had a really good time. I know it sounds like you shouldn't have a good time at a place like this, and last year I had such a ghastly, dystopian, awful time, which drove me half mad as I was chased around Athens. But this year, it's been, you know, sitting up late into the night with a bunch of great people talking about things, and seeing a great increase in numbers of people who've come from all across the world to this event to bear witness to it, and most importantly of all, a huge increase in press. I mean, genuinely, it is properly a breakthrough. I mean, I was speaking to a Spanish guy just the other day who'd come, and he was helping us translate some leaflets into Spanish, and he was just saying, you know, I was speaking to my dad. They were talking about it on he said, oh, they're just talking about it now on the radio, on one of the main radio stations in Spain. Everyone's talking about it. But the chauffeur I was talking to said, yeah, everyone's talking about it. He said, I don't know, is it because the people in the hotel are talking, but everyone's talking about Bilderberg. And you just feel like everyone's talking about it. And I know.
Well, that's it. I mean, we've gone from being called kooks a decade ago. There's no elite, nobody's meeting. You even a year and a half ago, before you first went, thought it was a joke, you said. To now, I mean, it's all over. Bloomberg, New York Times, Drudge Report, people. I mean, even Bloomberg says, yeah, it does look like Goldman Sachs is trying to destroy things by design. And they quote our blogs, our articles, and say it does look it's by design. And so many times I say something, and it's so incredible, Charlie Skelton, I can't even believe it. I said 900 million. Excuse me. That's what the security at the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania cost. The Toronto Globe reports, and I put into the search engine G20 security cost, $1 billion is what it's going to cost. It says the cost of security for the summit is expected to increase fivefold over estimates and reach $1 billion.
That's extraordinary. I don't know why. I mean, why not just 10 billion? Why not 100 billion? I mean, when you're making up numbers like that, why not just screw us for a little bit more?
But I mean, you get 20 bankers who are the real presidents, the real rulers. They show up. They lock down Pittsburgh. They lock down whole cities in Canada. They bring in 50,000 cops, and literally, it cost $1 billion. I mean,
to be fair to them, $1 billion isn't worth what it used to be.
Yeah, but I mean, that's probably $1 billion is the whole budget of the city of Austin every year.
It's just awful.
Charlie, stay there. Let's collect our thoughts and any other key intel you've got. You're always so awesome to come on with us. People can read your amazing reports at the London Guardian. Just Google the name Charlie Skelton. You'll get it all. We'll be right back. Stay with us. I'm just twittering about. And and I mean that by twittering in the post-cyber Twitter way, with the fact that every intel source we've got says the whole globalist agenda is in trouble, it's falling apart. That doesn't mean they're not dominating us, they aren't in control of us, but the world, as Zbigniew Brzezinski said 3 weeks ago, is now awake to their agenda. And the people are now getting faith that we can turn the tide against these people. And it's that understanding of who the true elite are that is our salvation against corruption. Going back to Charlie Skelton and the time we have left with him, and Paul Watson joining us via video Skype is coming up. Charlie, I can only commend you in your journey of awakening. And so much has happened, so much is going on. You did report, though, that there were people being detained and arrested. What happened on that front?
Well, look, I have to repeat, it started a little bit, but it just tailed off, and it was everyone I've spoken to, and that includes the few people that were arrested and the ones that were tended to be, 30 yards away from the hotel with a long lens. No one had a problem, and I didn't. One of the things no one had a big problem. One of the things I should say is that the guys that were arrested and taken to the chief of police, who told them that he admired them, he looked at their footage and he just handed it back. He handed the camera back and didn't delete his footage. So that's it's a different kind of experience. And I'm not saying that police forces the world over aren't brutal sometimes, but this year we've had a very good and positive experience and with the police, and I think it's hard to pick. There's so many different positives to draw from Bilderberg 2010, and one of them, and perhaps you could argue the most important, is a good relationship with the police. Because if that relationship falls over, then it all falls over for us.
Well, it certainly does. Other key points I haven't asked, other important pieces of intel. Can you give us any foreshadowing of what's coming up in your final Bilderberg 2010 report for The Guardian?
Yeah, I can. Apart from some more picture, we've got a game called, which your listeners may enjoy playing, called Spot the Delegate. Because there's a few there that we do know that, but we're not letting on, and there's quite a few delegates that we can recognise from their particular lanyards and the beady eyes that we don't know, but we're throwing it open to the world. So come along to The Guardian, have a look at the delegate snaps we've got, and see if you know who they are. And if you do, you probably know quite a few, so you might win this one. Join the game.
Good. What's the headline on that? Spot the Bilderberg delegate?
It's going to be Spot the Delegate. Yeah.
All right, in your blog. So it's not up yet. Tomorrow. It's not up yet, but it's going up as soon as you can get those emails to The Guardian, the biggest newspaper in Europe. Okay, now, lastly, what about your mock press conference? That's a good way to point out how ridiculous this is.
Okay, I'm just going to backtrack very slightly, very quickly, and say, another amazing thing. I just looked at the Guardian website's page where it says the most viewed pages on the website, and one of my reports about Bilderberg was the second most well-read, most viewed report on the Guardian the last 24 hours, and that's the whole newspaper. And that's just extraordinary to think that amount of traffic and that amount of forwarding around, and is
because the Guardian is numero uno. It's the #1, from what I've read, English paper in Europe and England. English speaking.
My parents would disagree with you, but yes.
Well, it's that or the Times of London, and from what I've read, the Guardian has a bigger readership.
Yeah, no, I mean, it has online, certainly, and these days that's perhaps the most important place to be. But yeah, in terms of the press conference we held, it was a little bit of a stunt, but actually it turned into quite a useful thing. We were staying at a caravan park. We set up a press office in our hut. Bungalow 19, and we started handing out lanyards, and we started handing out information and showing photographs of delegates. If you spot these guys, let us know. And basically, a bit of background on Bilderberg. And we were making the point that if...
I tell you what, Charlie, we're back in 1 minute. Do 3 more minutes with us. I want you to be able to finish.